educational system in the kingdom. But rather than having those individuals talk about what they've already thought about, it would be nice to understand what you think about the challenges that you're facing that could either be coordinated through these efforts or could spark a new initiative.
So that will show.
And so it would be great to hear from your perspective about what you think the challenges are that you're facing in your education, say within the science and technology arena, which is really where most of us have our influence.
Jim, if I may add to what is said, because I'm here in Saudi Arabia, and I'm not an expert about the kingdom, but I've been here for 4 years, running a small university, and I know a little bit the other universities. And one thing that comes to my mind, that and I hear it a lot, people think of the US, and especially California, and Silicon Valley comes up in any discussion about innovation. And I always remind them that when they think of Silicon Valley innovation, the names that come up into the mind are Stanford, Berkeley, maybe Caltech, UC San Diego,
San Francisco.
But those names. But what people forget is that the success of California is not based only on Stanford and a few places like that. It's not based on MIT in the Boston area. It is made on an entire system. You have the private universities, the Caltech, the USC, the Stanford. You have the great research universities like the Berkeley, the UCLA, and so on. Then you have state universities which provide more of a training or educate a large number of younger people to be trained to be able to work in those corporations being created. And junior colleges and so on. A strong education system at the primary school and secondary school level, even if it is under stress in California and in the US. So there is, and my point is that I see a danger maybe of as Saudi Arabia is evolving in that direction, for everybody to want to try to be the same thing. That's more, like Michael said, to every university trying to be a research university. And I think it is important to know that I think a mission is the first thing, and then to work within that mission. It's okay to be a smaller place with a very strong focus, like Chaos will be, that you will be, at the same time to have another bigger one. So I'm very concerned what I hear that we have to avoid as a country to push toward uniformity, and then in doing that you will spread resources in a way that cannot be sustained for everybody. So that's my plea. In fact, it goes beyond the topic here. It is more education for the kingdom.
These eruptions of scary technological, you know, I can't say the words, you know, threats. So that's a question that I'm throwing on the table, and I really
I thought you did. But maybe we should follow up on this.
I can answer, or just wait and we can more comments. No, I think you're asking, first of all, on the first issue. I don't want us to give the impression that every U.S. academic institution is extremely innovative. You probably have examples of the most innovative ones around the table. And innovation does not have a very particular expected meaning. You use the word conventional innovation, and that's kind of an oxymoron. So Michael, for instance, is doing fantastic innovation in a very unexpected way. His innovation is not the conventional innovation. By definition, it's just doing something much better or doing something that hasn't been done. And I find myself that in American institutions, outside those in this table, the reaction to that concept is very negative. So I'm curious about how you react here to that and what does it mean to you? Because very often in American institutions, the job is to educate students. And if you do also many teaching universities, if you also do research, what is to advance knowledge. But don't ask us to do more than that. That's our role. That's one point of view. So innovation and bringing that to the conversation is kind of a novel, relatively novel concept. Yes, some campuses at the UC system have done it for a long time. Caltech is born with it. And the same thing, Johns Hopkins invented research and that led to innovation, but that is not commonplace. So the first point is, let's not assume that everybody in the US is embracing wildly the concept of innovation, because it's not true. We do it because it's part of our blood, but it's not that it has not been imposed on us. And I think it's important to understand what it doesn't mean to you and what it is that you want to do with it. You had that second point is on cyber. I mean, look, imagine the internet was created. Let me simplify this. We built a system of highways to connect cities in cars. So this is Saudi have invented that so that we can have more cars and consume more of your gas. We do a very good job at it, but basically we have. I made that up, of course. That's not true. But my point is that we have highways and we have cars going through highways, and in order to connect people with people in different cities. We never thought that somebody is going to be shooting at people on the highways as they drive. We don't build highways to protect drivers. We just build highways so that drivers can go from city to city. The internet is very much the same way. It was built to connect people. It was not built to create an infrastructure of commerce. It was not built to create an infrastructure in which you can protect your secrets. It was built to connect people in an open way. It was a bunch of dreamers who wanted to collaborate with each other. That's created the internet. And now we're using it for all sorts of things it was never intended to be used. So how do you protect people from attacking it? It's like protecting drivers in the highway. How do you protect? Can you protect all of them? So what we do is all sorts of band-aids to protect people using the internet for purposes that were not intended to. So if we were to create an internet now to be used for commerce and for all these transactions we do, we would build it completely different. The problem is that everybody uses what we have today. And now all we do is put band-aids, and then smart kids educated by our institutions find ways to overcome those boundaries. So that's the problem we have today. There is no solution, really, unless we come up with a whole brand new style of internet.
No, it's very tough. It was designed to be open, so and it's very hard to protect it.
So let me comment on that. When I hear the term training in a research university, my back goes up. Because research universities are not meant to train people. The next generation of creative people. And that's not by training. That's by teaching them how to be creative. Very different. On the other hand, training is important. And someone made the case, John, I think made the case that we have various institutions of learning that, and some of them in California, we have a very structured tier where they are schools where they are trained, but not at a research university. Not at a research university. They are taught, and that's why labs exist, although some people say labs exist to create new knowledge. The labs also exist to teach the next generation of young people how to be creative. So they're around people who are creative. And because you create these people who are creative, they do things like that. They do things like attack the internet. And it will always happen.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I think he wants to change the topic, so let's.
So I would like to comment on this. For example, we are a teaching university, and we are proud that we are a teaching university. Because I agree that when we teach students in the right way, when we develop their skills, when we let them think, and we let them solve problems inside the classrooms and labs and everywhere, when we connect them with the real world, this way we will create researchers and we will create innovation. Maybe the case in Saudi University different than the case in the United States because you are really advanced in your education system. Now, in Saudi University, we receive students that they really need to emphasize on it and to really need to make them explore the world in different ways. So if we focus on some universities, for example, maybe in King Saud or King Abdulaziz, they are ready to be research university. But I really don't want to see everybody want to be a research university and forget the need of our society, the need of our country, and the vision that we want all to be able to reach that vision. So I think teaching university is very important, but how to teach students is the question.
So can I say something because that hit a nerve on me that I would like to address. I fully agree with what you said, but you can also innovate in teaching as well as Michael is doing it. But let me just make a point on one issue you said. I was born in Venezuela. I went to college in Venezuela. I did my grad school in America. Where I went to college was not a research university. It was a teaching university. But I remember that I was, I think, a junior in college, and I thought of something that I wanted to try with two students in my class. There was a little design of something that I wanted to do. And we went to something we thought was new. As juniors in college, what did we know? It probably was new at the time, but regardless. We went to the college professor who ran the lab in which we can do this little experiment when you're just build a little electronic circuit. And when we went to talk to him and told him what we wanted to do and said, can we use your lab? He said to us, look, you're trying to do something new. Leave that to the Americans. They are the ones who do new things. Your job is to learn how to maintain equipment. Okay? Don't do that to your students.
No, I'm not
And
saying
I know you didn't say that,
No,
but my
no,
point
no.
is you
I'm
mentioned
saying
something
the
about
circumstances are really different between American universities and Saudi universities. The need is really different, and the expectations from our universities, especially women universities, are really different. Now, maybe later on we can come to some.
But I think if you go back to what Jean-Luc said, if you think about the U.S., there's another set of universities not represented in this dialogue. And it's Grinnell in Iowa, it's Olin College, they are small organizations who dedicate themselves to excellence in education. I wouldn't call it teaching, but excellence in education, where their mission is to prepare students who will be spectacular graduate students someplace else. But they have dedicated themselves to excellence in that role, and it's an extraordinarily significant and important contribution to the U.S. higher education system, and it may be what you're trying to argue for and should be encouraged within the development of the complex Saudi educational system. Some institutions should aspire to be great at undergraduate education without feeling that, that's a pathway to be something else.
Yeah, and we don't want to underestimate the education and teaching university.
My observation is also that sometimes this thrust to do research is driven by the metrics we as a community apply, right? We're being ranked. And of course, part of the ranking are research output, research money income, and so forth. For all the wrong reasons, we're then missing what Jean-Luc has said, right? That there's this range of skills needed. And bringing it back to education, no matter whether you have students at universities that focus on education or have the whole spectrum in research, it's all about providing them opportunities to really do something creative, to work on something, let's say, together with a company, or develop new ways of learning in a classroom. And that way we prepare them to actually be innovative. Because they now see these new opportunities and how they can do things that otherwise are sort of, we don't do this. Now they see they can actually do this, and it doesn't need a research program.
There's a model in California as well. You mentioned some, but there's the Claremont College system in California are really, go look at them. There's Pomona College and Harvey Mudd College, and they are basically undergraduate colleges, which are excellent, and they attract some of the best students in the country to these colleges. I mean, best students in the country. They're highly ranked. They're highly ranked.
They're
We,
just not ranked.
we want to recruit students from Harvey Mudd, for instance.
Yes.
We want them.
They're highly ranked, and they're just not. They don't have schools of medicine, and they don't do research.
Maybe you mentioned, let me say something that my colleagues may know, but it will surprise you. In the US, if you look at the percentage of graduates of university who go into getting PhDs in science and engineering, the number one is Caltech. 45% or so of the graduates of Caltech go on to get PhDs. The next two universities happen not to be MIT or Yale or Arizona State or Johns Hopkins. It is Harvey Mudd and Reed.
Look at the Claremont College
and
system.
Reed's College in Oregon.
Reed College in Oregon, yeah, it's
which
another
is
good one.
more focused on science and Harvey
Right.
Mudd in engineering. And it means that those schools are focused on teaching, education. But if you, and I know those programs quite well in my case, their students do research at the undergraduate level. They get involved in projects. They even do co-ops and companies, they do all kinds of things. So you can have a very focused mission, not involving large research activities, but still provide an environment that people learn how to be creative and are exposed to different things. And then if you use technology, now you can even do more.
Right, we have 60,000 on-campus undergraduates, and about 50,000 of them are involved in research as undergraduates. And so it's a part of their educational experience. And then we have lots of other activities beyond that, but integrated in innovation activities, entrepreneurship activities, and research activities across all colleges, not just even technical colleges. And so that's the way that we approach that, and technology is what allows us to be able to do that.
I want to go back to a statement that you made originally about you want to integrating innovation throughout the university. And that what I listen to that and I think about the conversation, and I think what we don't agree on is what is innovation. Because people can say that and mean they want to integrate entrepreneurial thinking throughout the educational system. They can mean they want to integrate innovation by changing the teaching styles to recognize multiple forms of learning formats and the use of technology. They could be talking about changing it because you want to create the flexible continual learning capability that was highlighted this morning, or you want to integrate research into the environment so that people think outside of the traditional narrow boundaries of a specific classroom. So when you say integrated innovation, it means a suite of issues that need to be understood to figure out how we move forward.
I totally agree, and we already have innovation. It's not women leaders and entrepreneurs. And we lived up to that mission. And we have given them entrepreneurial training throughout their education. And that's why we have solid entrepreneurs coming out of the university. In terms of leadership, we expose them to leaders around the world so they converse with them, we bring them. And that actually changes their mindset. We also are working very closely with organizations around the world to infuse the entrepreneurial mindset, which does not really sit with the real entrepreneurial processes, but how to think with no box.
Yes. Let's,
Well, you started with a question, but you drifted away from that question. You wanted to know what are the challenges facing the university, Saudi University, or it's not mentioned in this one. I don't want to talk about this one, but I wanted to talk about the issue of innovation and in education. This could be in the curriculum, this could or in the methodology of teaching. It very well be in the environment and also in the infrastructure. The governance and administration also in the some of the rules and regulations will not give you a the university council, the rules and regulation might limit you. You started with a very ambitious plan. We come up with this one.
Why not?
Well, see, this has to be approval through several councils and committees, and you might get appointed at any given stage of this process.
You might get what?
Might be appointed,
Yeah.
appointed, so you said this topic. So you will not be able to do it. And in spite of this, I think they are doing a reasonable effort at this university and reviewing the curriculum, adapting the new standards to innovations, probably learning in various other ways and means of evaluation. When you come to evaluation and assessment, this is another story. You have also to stick to a different, to rather a traditional way, although you can do it, of course. In this way, a good number of the outcomes that you want to develop, primarily the personal attributes for the students. You cannot do it in the classrooms, the ordinary classroom. You ought to do it in extracurricular activities, of course. And there's also some dedication that we have. So I don't think we have the flexibility that you probably have today.
If I may, because being in the kingdom, I really feel for the universities and the people. It may be one bold recommendation that should be made to the leadership as part of Vision 2030. I think what is needed here is more freedom for the universities, so they be able to have their own governance and have their own board. I take the example. I like my.
This is supposed to be coming in the way now.
Well,
We think a lot about the changes in the rules of education. The Supreme Council choose to control everything related to higher education. As you know, we don't have higher education as such as need right now. It's all education course. But in the past, we used to be supported by the Supreme Council for higher education. This does not exist anymore. And it was replaced by a committee which supports
So these people that represent the American universities represent both public and private universities around this table.
Yeah, but I think we've got one extremely patient colleague at the end of the table that we're abusing.
I wanted to mention also, the other problem with the public university is the differentiation. With the public university, across the board, they teach the same programs, same almost, some of them same curriculum as well, which is a difficult thing to do. You want the university to differentiate. You want one to be good in health sciences, another one good in law, another one in business administration, and so on. So that, and this
excellent conversation, but it's deviated a bit from the mandate that I was told that I had to come back with, which was some suggestions about how we could maintain and sustain American-Saudi collaborations in the education arena to help the evolution of the system. And I've been listening to what people have talked about, and it seems to me that we have two excellent examples here of what maybe what could be beneficial, and I would like your opinions on, is the establishment of a clearinghouse that brings people together on identified initiatives so that we can understand what Saudi universities and what American universities might be willing to work together on specified topics, whether it's what's going on at MIT and at Arizona State could be examples of where these could be brought to bear, where if Saudi universities found out about them, they may be able to join in on those initiatives. Or maybe there could be other new areas where Saudi universities could identify an initiative, and maybe we could bring American universities to the table to participate. I think it's unfair to put the burden on just the 4 universities here to be able to make long-term commitments for the entire country, but maybe we could use this to begin to identify lines of communication so that as new creative tools get developed in the U.S., we use this as a branch out for international participation in these efforts. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
I can just quickly comment in the Jamil World Education Lab, the JWEL. That's a platform for interaction and education. So that's something that we would be looking for partner institutions that want to work with us. So that's a platform we're creating. So that's all. I'm sorry?
Is it different from Evan Khaldun?
Yes, it's different. So we are very proud of those fellowships. We have had already like 23 or 24. Well, they are spectacular, and I think they do very well when they come back. So we would like to continue that. But that's a fellowship for postdocs for women, Saudi women. That's going to continue. I'm talking about it's more like what Michael is doing in Arizona State, doing it broadly, collaborating with other institutions in developing countries and figuring out how we can work together to educate people,
So
create new jobs and create new jobs. So,
well, we have a project we've done with edX, which is an MIT Harvard spinout, and we launched a thing called the Global Freshman Academy, and when done, we'll have 30 courses that make up the freshman year of at least an American university: astronomy, multiple math courses, technology courses, English courses, all of which are completely interactive and digital. And that's 11 of those courses are out right now with 400,000 takers. And so what one can do with that is work to augment and work with others to help accelerate if there's enrollment stresses, if there's different levels of qualification of the incoming students. We found ways to level that playing field instantly. So, for instance, we were able to take our freshman retention rate in engineering from 65% to 90% while intensifying rigor at the same time and drawing in a broader cross-section of students. And so with our relationship with MIT and edX, we're now able to offer that on an infinite scale at all times, including ways to overcome, as I mentioned in my comments earlier, the math limit. So you'll get kids coming from high schools who are fully capable of being university students, but their math teachers weren't that good in high school. So we've overcome that. That's now no longer a constraint. We can level.
Excuse me, everyone. We'll be wrapping up the roundtable session in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Thank you.
There were 4 consistent areas that we are working with. It's changing we
So you're telling me you don't need any help or no partners?
But I want to build on this.
Right. And so all I'm trying to do is to create an open platform for dialogue, because if everything they said you knew, we don't need a platform.
No, no,
If this is
wait.
new to you,
I
we need
heard
a
some
platform.
things they didn't know.
Yeah, so-
And so let me repeat what I think wasn't known, and that is that schools like Harvey Mudd are nationally ranked in the United States, are nationally ranked schools. Nationally ranked. I mean, people want to go to the Pomona College and Grinnell College. They want to go to those schools because they know that going to those schools gives them pathways to remarkable careers. And they're not represented at this table. And so the first thing we could do is identify those schools that are not second-ranked schools. They are first-ranked schools. And schools that are really remarkable schools. The reputations of their graduates is as good as anywhere.
Those types of initiatives probably require very specific and tailored known partnerships. You can't, it's not that there's a random university who says, oh, degree, pick someone for me. That that's a long row, a long dance to be able to partner. One other question I would ask, that we're talking about undergraduate initiatives for the most part, but we could tie innovation and enhanced education at the graduate level as well. And one question would be whether it would be worthwhile to encourage the development of, say, a joint funding program, say with Caxton and NSF, that would encourage and stimulate collaborative research activities and the obvious educational exchanges that would take place through a funding mechanism that could require collaborative research between Saudi universities and universities in the U.S.
I think she can handle it.
Yeah.
I think she can
Well
handle it.
trained here.
Because, you know, it's exactly what I was hoping to do here. I really care for what everyone was saying about the constraints, but I think if you provide a program in which you would guarantee quality, everyone would agree with the program. So the guarantees of quality are the assurances that the government wants for the change you want to make. I'm talking about the private sector, not the public sector. And so this would be a request. And the other thing is I need the list of the female students that graduated so I can hire them.
I would like to come back to Jim's thought about establishing a pipeline between NSF, NIH, and others in Saudi research funding organizations. Our experience, similar to what you said with these joint seed programs with multiple countries, you create a lot of buzz for 2 years and people learn from each other, and then mostly part ways. Everybody sort of still benefits and locally can attract additional funding, but joint work often ceases because there are no good funding models that support work simultaneously in both countries. So having a strong joint foundation for that, I think, would be a really good and powerful way of multiplying those efforts that I think we overall like.
As one must conclude, it's a question that suggests do you have something like innovation scale metric that we can learn from? Say that United States is 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
There is a ranking of, but it's more of a vote on innovation, yes.
So we have like some
Yes.
areas that we, how can I know the man versus gender are?
No, there's another ranking
That's too structured.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, it's too
Yeah, it's
structured.
too narrow,
It's far too structured. And the measure occurs 10 years later when you see what you've done to the economy in the region, not numbers of patents.
Let me suggest. Let me suggest something practical that builds upon what you said earlier and what my colleagues here have been mentioning. There is extreme pressure in Saudi universities in terms of enrollment. More and more young people are coming and you have to accept them. So you have extreme pressure on your education system. And you have great initiatives in the US, and they're not new. Some of them are 10 years old now. You have the edX, you have Coursera, you have a number of programs. Michael mentioned another one. So it seems to me a very positive recommendation would be for the Ministry of Education and maybe CAT to engage those organizations and see how programs can be tailored to Saudi Arabia. Major part of it obviously has to be in Arabic. Don't forget that the language here is not Al-Kars, but most of it is Arabic, so you have to, and that may be something that to provide you with, to develop the platform here, which is starting to be a very effective worldwide, especially, and even in the US with a long history of the established universities. Michael Crow is telling you he has many more students because he has now that platform available for them. And that to me would be very practical and fitting very well the Vision 2030 ideas of change.
We are on. Just a suggestion.
So that the message, at least in our case, as I stated at the outset, was to not try to replicate the existing institutions, but to find niches which offer opportunities to what Bob was saying. You're not training people for certain jobs, you're trying to find learning environments in which they can excel as learners, they can become master learners. The subject spaces that you do that in are not as important as the quality of the learning environment that they're in. So So not everybody needs petroleum engineering. Not everybody needs each of these subjects. I mean, if you all have chemistry departments that look the same, then that's a waste.
It's no reason for that.
Yeah.
There's no good reason.
Yeah. Yeah, the answer is, at least in our case, we've also decided to work in a way where we will do anything to partner with anyone that's a reasonable partner that adds benefit to what we're trying to do.
But I want to be careful here.
They share our
because
values.
You look at these universities, and you're talking to him because he's got a very passionate and great argument. But what he says he's distinguished himself, and I'm going to tell you why he's exactly the same as all the others. Because he developed his vision and focus for success, and he's not following someone else's path. He's following his path, and that has been an essential component to his success.
He doesn't have to do what everybody else does.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I hear, and that's a big mistake.
Yes. With that.
Okay. So I think we need to come to an end. So I've got someone here who'd like to say something.
Okay, we're going to have to start closing the roundtable discussions for the morning. We're going to start our lunch break with also people who wants to join us for Friday Pray. There are buses that will take you to the Grand Mosque. Following that, we're going to have a signing ceremony. And then after, we're going to start the panel video links on the entrepreneurship and higher education.
I would caution about taking models out of context, right? You need to look at the whole ecosystem.
I just wanted,
Things might not work.
I wanted to summarize what I'm going to put forth.
So if you can start just having your way out so we can be on the program. Thank you.
Was John Lu's suggestion about the Ministry of Education and CACs pursuing the educational model connections with the tools and technologies that developed in the U.S. 2 was the idea of the collaborative funding tool to support prolonged engagement. And 3, I think everybody is arguing that we need a clearinghouse so that people can figure out how to find connections with partners in the U.S. to meet, whether it's center-to-center aspirations or advising for institutional development, like you're talking about with Arizona State, because it's not that we can all turn around and expect Arizona State to meet the entire needs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia by themselves. And so we have to create an open lines of dialogue to bring more U.S. partners into this discussion.
But what I heard was that you collectively and separately have to figure out where you will be excellent and go after it and not be mediocre.
Well, we just keep the panels going.
It's your homework. We could help you, but you can't pattern after us. We could advise you on centers of excellence. And you've got to break loose from the rules of having all things equal.
So you let me know, right? Yes.
This card?
I know we're supposed to meet now, but no one told me where.
Well, someone will come along and tell you.
Yes, because Raphael and Michael are two there.